this video, I'm going to go through the basic strokes with you. This is a page from my workbook, my brushed strokes workbook, and it's just a practice page you can either use with tracing paper or you can write directly on it because the paper is super smooth paper and it won't fray your pens. And so let's just go through the basic strokes. There's 7 different basic strokes when you're learning calligraphy or brush lettering. And the first one is lines. And these are pretty self-explanatory. You go thin on the up and then thick on the down. I'm using a Pentel Touch brush pen right now, and it gets a little bit thicker line than what I have in the workbook, and that's fine, as you want your lines to be as thin and as thick as they can for whatever tool you're using. And so you're just going to come through and practice your lines. And if you want, you can even go all the way up. I didn't do that in the practice sheet, but if you want to extend your lines, that's fine as well. So you're just going to come through and practice. These are great things to practice. All 7 basic strokes are great to practice at any time so that you can really just improve on the components of your letters. And so all of these basic strokes then combine to make up your letters. And it was when I really started practicing the basic strokes on a consistent basis that my brush lettering really improved. You know, before that, I was just trying to learn the letters and create words, because who doesn't want to just write words right away? I mean, that's so fun. And so I got right into the words and I skipped the most important foundational part, which is the basic strokes. So the second one is an overturn. So you have a thin up and then you start to transition down right at the top. So right at the top there is where you start to transition down, and you want it to be a smooth transition. So this is where you're starting to learn some muscle memory with your hand, and it's not going to be perfect when you first start, and that's okay. And that's why, you know, you just want to just start practicing these as often as you can. I really recommend even just 5 to 10 minutes a day, and you know, doing your basic strokes and also your letters. It really can make a huge difference just practicing a few minutes consistently rather than just practicing in big chunks a few times a month. Even if you can just get 5 minutes in, sit down with your pens, practice. You know, these Pentel Touch, they have all different colors, so it's fun to practice with the different colors, and you really just start to get the feel of these strokes. The third one is the underturn, and this is a similar movement except it's just upside down. So you start with the thick down stroke, you transition at the bottom again and come back up. So right at that center point again is where the transition will be, and that's when you want to start to change your pressure. You can see I don't know if you could see, I kind of let up on that a little bit too quick, and so you can always come back in and add just a little bit in there to smooth it out. And so this stroke is something you'll see a lot, like at the end of a letter, like the end of a lowercase a. You know, this will be the part that you'll see there. And so really getting a handle and practicing your basic strokes are going to help you to put together your letters. And when you skip this step, because I know it can kind of seem boring sometimes, but it's also very meditative. But when you skip this step, then that's when your letters tend to be a little bit more difficult. So the next one is a compound curve, where we're going to put those together, and you're going to make the transition at the turning point for each. And so again, the transitions are, there's 3 different transition points here. So it takes a little bit more skill and muscle memory to get this. You can also lift your pen in between if you want, like if you want to do this and then lift your pen and then start again, you're welcome to do that. But I challenge you to get to the point where you can do it without lifting your pen, but just controlling the pressure. because this is really the skill that you learn when you learn brush lettering, is controlling the pressure. A lot of people will comment on social media posts to calligraphers and lettering artists like myself, and they say, "Oh, what pen is that? What pen is that?" Well, why do you think they say that? Well, they're saying that because they think the magic is in the pen. But the magic really isn't in the pen. The magic is in the muscle memory behind the pen. So you can use a simple Crayola marker. In fact, I have a Skillshare class all about using Crayola markers for lettering and other fun art projects. And you can use a simple Crayola marker for brush lettering once you learn the muscle memory. So the next one is the hardest by far. It's the oval, and this is one of the most important because it's such an important component to so many different letters. What I typically recommend is to start over here on the right hand side in the middle. You're going to come up and over and then back to meet the side. And this is going to be one that you'll need to practice a lot. Like, I still feel like I need to practice my ovals. Some days they're just not as good as others, and that's okay. This is a skill that can be learned, and it just takes some time. And if you just let the pressure off and don't feel pressure as far as like having to learn something a certain way right now, and just enjoy it. That's what I did in the beginning. I just really enjoyed the process, and I started posting on Instagram even when I didn't feel like my work was that great, but I was just excited to be doing art and creating, and it was just fun to be part of the challenges. And I actually created my Instagram account at Your Creative Adventure back, it was November 5th, 2016, and it was so I could be part of a 30-day Bible lettering challenge. And so it's just a really great way to, just start seeing your progress, and I can go back and I can see my progress. So you can see I was talking, so that really takes away some of the concentration, but I definitely still need work on my ovals, and so will you too. It's not something that just happens instantly, that you're an instant expert with something. It definitely takes time. So the ascending loop, we're going to start here at the thin line up. You're going to transition and come down. So again, the transition is right in here. And you're just going to come around each of these and practice. This is, for example, you'll see this in a lowercase b. So if I added, an oval, backwards oval there, that's a lowercase b. So you can see how a lot of these basic strokes then become letters. And the thing with lettering is to go slow. So if you think you're going slow, try to go even half the speed that you're already going, because the slower you go, the more control you can have over those transitions and really be thinking about it, like where's the thick, where's the thin, and really be getting those thicks and thins in the right place. So the thin strokes are always the up strokes, the thick strokes are always the down strokes. And then the last one is the descending loop, and this looks like a J. And you're just going to start at the thick downstroke and then come up with the thin. And so sometimes if I'm feeling a little bit rusty with my lettering, or if it's not turning out exactly like I want, I'll just sit down with paper and I'll just practice these basic strokes. In the beginning, you can trace over the ones that I have here for you in the workbook, but then eventually you can just do them on your own without any tracing paper or without any guide. And you even have a little bit of a space here at the bottom you can practice in. But this is a great way to start. Don't think of tracing as cheating. Think of it like training wheels, and you're just using it until you develop that muscle memory. And if you don't trace at all, like I traced a little bit in the beginning, I bought some practice sheets and And it helped me to learn those movements, and then I could take those basic skills and create my own letters from there. So I hope this was helpful. This is the basic strokes. You have your lines, your overturn, your underturn, compound curve, oval, ascending loop, and descending loop. And if you're interested in this workbook, you can find it at yourcreativeadventure.com/workbook. It's 168 pages, very comprehensive, everything you really need to know about lettering in one workbook. And again, my name is Shelly Hitz, and thank you so much for joining me on this video. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.